Hey everyone, this is Daniel.
And I'm Jun,
And we are
Korean
American.
Hey Daniel.
Hey June.
So today we're going to talk about trends.
Yes.
Yeah, and I hope this becomes a regular thing.
Yeah.
Where we talk about the recent trends in a regular cadence.
Yeah.
So there's a trend that we cannot not talk about that just happened yesterday.
Okay.
And it's blowing up the entire country.
I think I know what it is.
You know what it is?
I mean, it's related to the Hybe lady, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I know.
Okay. So with our very limited knowledge,
You didn't do your research?
I didn't do my research, but I did listen through like 80% of the press conference.
Okay.
So yeah, there's this...
explain it for us, June. What is like the most trending viral media news right now in Korea?
So it was like, I think it was like 4 p.m. yesterday when I was at work.
Yeah. Wait. As of Friday, April 26th, 2024. Because we don't know when this episode will go out.
That's true. I was at work.
Yeah.
And everyone was like all of a sudden looking at their phones. And I was like in my multiple like Kakao Talk group chats and everyone was sharing links.
Yeah.
And it was about this, how do I label this person? There's this creative director.
Okay.
In the music label Hybe, which has BTS.
Yeah, very famous for BTS.
And NewJeans.
Yeah.
And this creative director, she is famous for being the mastermind behind NewJeans.
Okay.
And it was very rare that the creative director being in the highlight of a K-pop idol, boy band or a girl band.
I see.
Because NewJeans' debut was so sensational.
Yeah.
And their, creative concept was so unique and well done. So everyone was like, who was the person behind making all this?
Yeah.
And it was this person. And
so she kind of stole the spotlight is what you're saying because NewJeans was so successful. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, like when something like a creative material has been done so well, people start to focus on who made this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this was the case because NewJeans, they say it was like historically one of the most successful debuts of like Korean entertainment history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got it. Wait, before you continue, for our listeners, I don't want you to get too excited. This is not the K-pop episode.
Yeah, this is not the K-pop episode.
we will do a K-pop episode at some point, but this is just the trending news. Yeah. We want to talk about current events. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
And so good that you said that because I don't know that much about K-pop.
Me neither.
And this is all things that I learned overnight.
Okay.
No, but I knew about her. That's how famous she was.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Even for like not K-pop fans, you knew about her.
Yes. Okay. Because everyone was like, who's behind making NewJeans?
Yeah. I'm going to make this might not be a good analogy, but the first thing that comes to mind is like, do you know Lin-Manuel Miranda?
No.
Oh, he's like the director or whatever of Hamilton. Mm-hmm. A very famous musical that just like was a phenomenon in the US. Mm-hmm. And then he went on to also start doing all these like he did like Moana and like that soundtrack and like all these other things. And like he just built this cult following seemingly out of nowhere. And he's like a genius. Like he is so talented. He even like presented to the White House and all these things. But it sounds like that. Like he's so famous for creating like these big things. Anyway, that's the first name that came to mind as maybe an analogy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So going back to the story, it happened like 3 days ago.
Okay.
And I did remember reading the news about it, about her trying to sort of manipulate the equity structure so that she can gain management of her label. I think her label is called ADOR under Hybe. So I think Hybe, the way that Hybe runs their company is that this is again a new thing that I learned. Multi-label structure. So they have like multiple labels under Hybe to like give independence and have like more color to each label, as opposed to like companies like SM or JYP who just maintain just one company.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so Hybe has, I think they have a lot of different labels under Hybe, and ADOR is one of them.
Okay.
And NewJeans is from ADOR.
Yeah.
And this creative director, I think she's the CEO of ADOR.
That's what I thought from the headlines. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so Hybe was suing her, accusing that she was trying to gain majority of management rights
To ADOR. Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And her defense was that is completely false. And it only happened because Hybe was jealous of the success of NewJeans, which I think is kind of weird, because the success of NewJeans is also success of Hybe.
Yeah, it should be.
But I think there were some sort of jealousy behind it. I don't know why. Probably very personal.
I mean, if she's getting the credit versus Hybe, I can see that. Like, she's stealing the spotlight in a sense. It's all about her, not about Hybe, right?
But so what sparked all this is there was a recent debut of another girl band called Islet.
Okay. Never heard of them.
And they are weirdly similar to NewJeans. Their song style and their creative styling and everything.
Yeah.
And so...
Dude, that's messed up. Yeah.
That is messed up, right?
Like, Hybe took what this creative director did with NewJeans.
Yeah.
And under a separate label and group, kind of copied it.
Yeah.
That's messed up. Yeah.
Everyone thought it was weird.
Yeah.
In the first place, when Islet first came out.
Yeah.
The first thing everyone said is like, oh, this is just like NewJeans.
It's like they're competing with themselves almost, right? Yeah.
But I remember thinking there must be a reason, right? They wouldn't just copy it because it's like their own, like NewJeans is their own creation.
Exactly.
So why would they copy it? Right?
Yeah.
There must be some reason internally that makes sense that I don't know. But it turns out there wasn't. It's
just personal.
And so she was super pissed off about this. And she was like trying to raise the issue to leadership. And then what she's saying is that they wanted to get rid of her by accusing that she did this.
Yeah.
But she said it's not true. But the huge scandal is that she finally yesterday, April 25th, she held a press conference.
Yeah.
And the reason why this press conference was so sensational is her demeanor in it.
Okay.
Usually,
I've not seen this, but yeah.
Usually when you imagine a press conference, it's very well put together.
Yeah.
Very official sounding. And usually there's a script that you read and all
that.
Yeah. But it was super, super clear that she didn't prepare anything.
Yeah.
And just came up and started it was the most uncensored press conference ever.
Yeah.
They say ever in history.
Wow.
And she was cussing, and saying whatever she wants to, and showing screen captures of all these conversations she had with
private conversations.
The chairman of Hybe and all that.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining.
She was not pulling punches. She was just letting it all out.
Yeah.
I want to see this.
Yeah. Anyways.
Do you think it would be entertaining for me as if I don't understand the words, but just her, I'll understand the curse words, her demeanor, everything. Do you think I'll still find it fun?
I think so. Certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a meme phrase in Korea.
Yeah.
Where whenever you see something that's so raw and it's free spirited.
Yeah.
In Korea, we say it's hip hop.
Oh, right? What?
I don't know why. The hip hop artists usually claim that hip hop's not just a music genre. It's a demeanor.
I see.
And a lifestyle.
Yeah, living free, freestyling. Yeah. Okay.
So they were saying this was the most hip hop press conference ever.
That would be very confusing for a Western viewer without that context, right?
Yeah. She was on fire and it was long.
How long was it?
I think it was for 2 hours.
Oh, are you? I thought you were going to say 30 minutes.
She was hours? Crying and cussing. And
how did they not cancel it? I mean, maybe this was their play. I don't know.
Maybe it was their play.
Maybe they were the viewers are going up. Keep doing it.
And you know what's more interesting? NewJeans released their new album today.
Oh, okay. Now this is getting fishy. Yeah. It's a big publicity stunt,
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Conspiracy theories. Hashtag.
Yeah, it's the most viral marketing if they planned it out ever.
Yeah. Okay. So why do you think this is catching the country by fire, for example? What is it about it?
I think it's number one, of course, the uncensored manner of how she did it.
Yeah.
Because Korean people are usually very, they don't express their feelings that much. They're usually very contained within themselves. So it was very foreign to see something like this. Number two, she is like a famous like semi-celebrity in which like most people know about her. And number three, like you get to know about the nitty-gritties of like
peek behind the curtain.
About like entertainment business and all that.
She was airing all the dirty laundry.
And she was very determined to not hide anything.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it seems like the public's behind her, right? Like from what you're saying and from what I'm hearing, like I'm team, I don't know her name.
Oh, but definitely I think she won a lot of things. Okay. Maybe she planned on doing this. Because I mean, she's like probably the master of marketing, right? So she knows exactly what she's doing, probably. And so what's super interesting is that maybe this is also intentional, but she's usually very, like her appearance is very well put together. She looks very young for her age. And she actually has a very like attractive appearance as well. Yeah. But yesterday she came out with like no makeup. And like her hair was all over the place, man. And she wore just a baseball cap. And like
I saw it was like covering everything, right? Like super low. Yeah.
And then like this green T-shirt, everything sold out.
This is kind of an awesome story. Yeah. Okay, anyway. So do you think in the U.S. if something like this were to happen, I think immediately two thoughts. One is like the jaded side of me. It's like, they're just going to settle and it's like, non-disclosure and it's just going to go away. And then the second thought is like, I can't wait for the movie documentary about this to come out. Is it similar in like Korea? Like, would there ever be like a documentary made about this, like over dramatized?
I don't know about a documentary, but they're definitely going to show it on SNL.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there was a scene where she like showed
in this 2-hour press conference.
Screen capture of like the messenger, like Kakao talk between like the chairman of Hybe, which he's also very famous too, right? Okay. And between her. Yeah. And the day when I guess NewJeans made like a really successful milestone on the Billboard chart. Yeah. He sent a message to her saying in Korean, 기분 좋으세요? But it's like a very sarcastic way.
Like, are you happy now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was so...
there's so definitely something personal here. Yeah. I have a couple questions. So like BTS Hybe, right? Just like the talent in K-pop industry has to have like a squeaky clean image. My view of Hybe is like they're just adored. Like because they were the upstart label, right? They were like not well funded, kind of like BTS was their breakout success, and now they're like this super, famous publicly traded company, right? So I think Hybe has a very clean, positive image. Would you say that? Oh, maybe not.
I don't know about the label images.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know about Hybe because they're like relatively new, but before the success of Hybe, they were like the big three, which was SM, JYP, and then YG. Okay. And so the image of those three companies was that, as far as I know, SM is more like textbook cookie cutter. And then JYP, they tried to project a more innocent image. Like we call it like 범생, 모범생. Like very like
pure innocent. Yeah, innocent, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. And then YG was more like freestyle, like whatever,
hip hop,
which turned out to be true because they had like all these like drug scandals.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about Hybe.
Okay. I just think like BTS and talent in general. My perception as a Westerner is that it's really sad. Like they are not allowed to date. They can't have any individualism or be free. That's changing. Like all these, I think the talent's fighting back, having their own individual pursuits and things like that. But historically, at least, right, they have to have this like super squeaky clean image. Yeah. And it must be so tiring and draining. Like you can't do anything else but like, play your role in this K-pop band, right? So, but anyway, a couple other questions. Do you think that's playing into this at all? Like this labels versus talent war in general? And in this case, it's maybe like subsidiary versus conglomerate, like mothership. Is this a thing you see play out frequently across Korean companies or not? Yeah.
I think the interesting part is that it's not a a fight between NewJeans and Hybe, right?
Oh,
It's still like within the corporate structure of like a subsidiary company, like the CEO is a subsidiary company and like the mothership. So that's, I think, a very important, interesting part of Korean entertainment culture, where I feel like the artists themselves don't have a lot of say in their business.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
Before maybe like they become like very, very successful, where they're like powerful enough to have their own voice. But like NewJeans, for instance, they were pretty sensational, right? But still, like, they don't have any presence in all this scandal. Or maybe this is intentional, because maybe this is all marketing scheme.
It doesn't seem that way. Yeah, it's always like too much.
Yeah. But it's also because all of these K-pop bands, they're very young to have any strong voice, right?
Yeah.
That's maybe another reason.
Yeah. Do you think at all, the president of ADOR, she's a woman, and I think the president of Hybe is a man. Do you think gender's playing at all into this?
She tried to frame it a little bit in that way.
Yeah. I can't imagine there are too many presidents of music labels that are women. I don't know if you know or not, but
maybe.
It seems to be like a male dominated industry, right? Like a lot of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I see. So, okay. And then I did want to talk a little bit. One of the biggest differences I've observed in like Korean corporate structures and American, I've mentioned this before, is this conglomerate subsidiary model. It's so weird. But for the audience, I wanted to explain my understanding of why this exists. So the main reason is to protect basically the mothership leadership, right? So you create a subsidiary, it's independently operated, and sure, the mothership now invests and owns a majority stake in that subsidiary. But the president of that subsidiary, they supposedly have full autonomy over what it is that they do within their, let's say subsidiary, in this case, sub-label. And what I was told was this was to protect the mothership in case they do something bad, illegal, go bankrupt, whatever it might be. The mothership leadership is untouchable, right? So let's say something really bad happens, there's a scandal, the Korean public demands someone to be held to account. The president of the subsidiary is the one that's going to take the blame, maybe go to jail, whatever, and the mothership is safe from that. So, this was my understanding, and it's always to protect the mothership. And in a sense, I think I can understand why they might not be happy. It's like, oh, our subsidiary is becoming more famous or doing more, doing better than we are. They need to be put in their place. Like they're there to protect me, not to make a name for themselves, right? So I can see why like jealousy starts to creep in. But anyway, I just wanted to clear that up. And once I understood that too, whether it's a K-drama or whether it's some other thing, right? Employment law in Korea, etc. It all starts to make a lot more sense. Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to describe that conglomerate versus subsidiary model. And again, my understanding of why it's in place.
I think your understanding is probably correct. But something that I want to add onto that is because traditionally, and still conglomerates, Korean like large conglomerates are all like family owned. And so I think the many subsidiaries has a lot to do with successions of like their children. Because like if you see, let's say Samsung has like hundreds and hundreds of subsidiaries.
Do they really have hundreds? It's not like tens? Anyway.
But all of them are owned by their children, one in each, right?
Okay.
Like, so for instance, Samsung Electronics is succeeded by the first child of the former president. And then I think Samsung, like Silla Hotel, is one of the subsidiary of Samsung, is owned by their daughter.
I see.
Blah, 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 blah. And so like these equity structures of Korean conglomerates are crazy complex.
Yeah. But it's all in an effort to like keep it within the family kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to your point, maybe the reason for doing that is to protect the mothership, but also for succession and all that. Yeah.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, this all feels like a K-drama like scene unfolding before our eyes. I don't know if I can watch 2 hours of this, but I'm going to go back and watch at least part of it. It sounds highly entertaining.
Is there a sold out culture like that in the States too? Like if something becomes viral, like even if it's not related to fashion or whatnot, it just gets sold out immediately.
Oh, sold out?
Yeah.
definitely not to the extent of Korea. Yeah.
Mm.
So what this story reminds me of is, the first immediate one that came to mind was like O.J. Simpson. He recently passed away, but he was.
He did?
Yeah, he passed away.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But
Wow.
the literally like the chase was being shown on live broadcast news TV. Like you can follow it day by day, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole trial. I mean, it was just like nonstop media coverage for the
Mhm.
whole duration of the trial. And
Mhm,
it's just like this whole thing about like live broadcasts and TV being so unpredictable.
Mhm.
I don't. It's just there's something awesome about it, right?
Mm.
You,
Wait,
you can't stop watching.
I want to go back to the O.J. Simpson.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I want to understand the American general perception
Okay.
of like, do they think that he did it?
I was young at the time,
Uh-huh.
right? But I think everyone thinks he did it. Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, I think it's common knowledge he
wow.
did it. I believe he lost the civil case after. So,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I do think in the US, there's a feeling like the justice system,
Mhm.
if you're famous enough or rich enough, you can never really, lose. Like you'll figure out a way. You hire more expensive lawyers, you figure out a loophole, or, ultimately a lot of times it just gets settled through money. But there's this feeling like the rich and powerful are untouchable, even through the justice system, which is kind of funny to bring up because, like, even former President Trump right now is like, facing a trial right now for potential, criminal acts. But anyway, so yeah, historically, I think that's the feeling, and it's like, from the OJ case, everyone was like, even if he did it, like they're not going to convict him. It can't happen, right? So anyway, there was that whole thing too, and there were some race dynamics playing in as well. But yeah, I guess I'm curious in Korea. I don't know, like what's the general sentiment? Does everyone think like, oh, Hybe's going to win, or like she did a good enough job that like it's now feeling like, oh, public sentiment is so in her favor that Hybe can't win?
I definitely think that she put them in a very difficult position now.
Yeah, she gained some leverage in this situation,
which she probably did throughout the years.
Yeah. No, I'm a fan. I really like her just from how you're describing her and how this went down. So yeah, rooting for her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything gonna be more unfolded after this, and I generally think people are already moved past it.
Yeah.
And they don't care anymore. But it is, yeah.
Cool. I mean, it was just so viral and so all-consuming of media, right?
Yeah.
June,
Yep.
I heard of another trending news thing that I read this morning. Korea did not qualify for the Paris Olympics in soccer.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Be the Reds won't be a thing.
Yeah.
In Paris.
It's the first in like 9 Olympics.
9 Olympics, like what, 36 years? That's crazy.
That is crazy.
How, what's the public sentiment? Because again, as a casual observer, my understanding is like there's never been more Korean nationals playing at like the highest levels of soccer. Like how could this happen, right? Like we're loaded talent wise. So how could we not qualify for the Olympics?
I think there's a fortunate aspect and an unfortunate aspect. Unfortunate aspect, of course, is the fact that they didn't qualify for the Olympics, and I think it's due to lack of leadership, is what I heard. Because I think they failed to find like a good director or a coach. You say? What do you call a
coach?
But there's a coach and a director, right?
There's both. General manager. One role is in charge of the personnel. Yeah. Like who, they bring in, and the other is in charge of making the most of the personnel they have.
Because in Korean, there's a person who's called a 감독, which is like the executive director of everything. And then coach is more like, I don't know. I actually don't know the difference.
But the director can hire and fire the coach, right?
Yes.
So ultimately, it falls on the director for hiring maybe a bad coach, even if it's the coach's fault. I see.
There's a huge scandal about the previous German director. Yeah. And he got kicked out, and now there's like, I don't know.
It's called the KFA, right? Korean like Football Association or something. Yeah,
there's
I again, as a casual observer, it felt like Koreans were all really upset at the KFA. It's like corrupt, or like scandal, just like getting money.
Yeah. The president of the KFA is, again, this weirdly ties back to the conglomerate system.
Everything comes back to the conglomerates.
But one of the sons of the Hyundai family.
Are you serious? Why do I get the feeling there's like, what, 100 people in Korea that are like operating everything?
Maybe. But you know what the fortunate part is about this?
That they have to fire them and move on, or?
No,
What?
it's the fact that no one cared about it because yesterday's press conference.
I see. The timing was perfect.
Yeah.
Interesting. It just like swept under the rug.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a sports lover
Mhm.
in Korea, there's not much sports for me to like really get into.
Mhm.
And so I'm sad. I think like
Mm.
the only consistent thing I've been watching with other Koreans here
Mhm.
is soccer, because
Yeah.
they love their national soccer
Mhm.
teams.
Mhm.
And without that to root for, like, what are the Summer Olympics going to be about?
Mm.
Archery,
Taekwondo,
taekwondo, judo,
judo, mm,
badminton, maybe? Is that a
badminton, yeah.
table
Table
tennis?
tennis.
Yeah.
What are we good at too? I think there's a very promising swimming athlete.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
What else?
The Korean
Someone-
Michael Phelps.
Oh, the
or Katie Ledecky.
I don't know, the shooting.
Biathlon, right?
Yeah.
Skiing and shooting. No, that's a winner.
No, just like the shooting.
Oh, just shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, isn't breakdancing going to be a Olympic
Oh,
sport
yeah,
for the first
b-boying.
time?
Yeah, it's the
our
first
Koreans
time.
are excited,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
Koreans are generally pretty well regarded globally, right?
Yeah, I think we're aiming for gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
The other sports, not so much.
I was also, I think it was the last Olympics that they first introduced the climbing.
Oh, rock climbing.
Rock climbing.
Ah.
That's super entertaining.
Rock climbing is super popular
because
in
it's
Korea
like
right
puzzle
now.
solving, right?
Yeah.
That's super entertaining.
Also, I think Korean maybe like body types are really well suited for both breakdancing and rock climbing,
Yeah.
because it's about like strength to mass ratios, and Koreans aren't that big,
Yeah.
so they can really kind of excel at those things. Yeah.
Mm. And the pole, I see all of these categories I only know in Korean.
Okay.
But like
Pole
the
vault?
pole jumping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Track and field.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I will try to be finding my American broadcasts so I can watch my American sports. But okay, breakdancing, you got me on that one, and swimming is cool.
Yeah.
That's about it. I'm sad we won't have soccer.
Mm.
Baseball?
Oh yeah, baseball.
Okay, baseball. Yeah.
Yeah, baseball definitely. Oh, speaking of baseball, it's baseball season now.
It is baseball
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
And one of our bucket lists for our podcast was to go to baseball together.
Not just podcasts, my like Korea bucket list. I've
Yeah.
heard these games are so fun.
Yeah, we should go.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Oh, if you wanna experience fun, I think Lotte, their fandom is the biggest.
It's known
or
to
like
be.
not. I don't know if they're the biggest, but known to be the most fun.
Okay. Yeah, as an American, my favorite sport to watch is basketball right now. And so it's playoff season right now in the NBA.
Mhm.
So that I am, it's very convenient for me to actually watch because I watch in the mornings.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I get to watch NBA basketball playoffs.
Oh, nice. Is that the only American league that you follow? Basketball?
Yeah. Funny enough, like,
You watched Super Bowl, right?
I actually did not this year.
You did not?
I'm shocked. So, I was, like most Americans, pretty diehard into fantasy football, which is, you kind of make a game out of the sport league.
Mm.
And so, again, every week, like following very closely.
Mm.
But literally the second I stepped foot in Korea, I was like, oh, I actually really don't care about football.
Mm.
So I realized it's more of like a social thing. Like I just do it to like have something to talk about. All my friends are doing it. It's like a social thing that you do in America. But personally, I just, I never played football really. And so it's just not something I really followed. And then, baseball, I never followed as well. But, basketball is something I've always like really cared about, love to play. And so I get to keep watching it. So, yeah. And I keep up with it. So I guess that's how I know it's like I'm a true fan and not just like a social observer, I guess. Yeah.
One big difference that I realized, cultural difference between Korea and America, is that America's much more integrated into sports.
Super integrated
compared to Korea, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, like the following of the sports leagues, but also like every person actually
playing sports,
participating in sports.
Yeah. But I think Koreans are, baseball. Everyone is supposed to have a team. Like I think you pair at least two Korean men together, they can talk about baseball forever, right?
Yeah.
So maybe baseball.
Maybe.
Oh, back to the Olympics. Is volleyball trending right now? Because I remember
Oh,
last summer Olympics,
specifically women's
volleyball. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Korean had a pretty good run. Was it
Yeah.
last year? Last Olympics, sorry.
I think so.
Okay. I can follow volleyball. I played volleyball as well. So, soccer aside, like, do you get the feeling every Olympics does Korea have like a ton of pride in it? Is it like a really big deal? Or is it just like, oh, the few sports we expect to do really well in, like everyone will like root for those? Or I guess like what should I expect during the Olympics in Korea?
There's this very interesting culture in terms of watching Olympics in Korea. For a very long time, they were so obsessed about the ranking,
The medal
ranking.
count. Yeah.
And there were a lot of criticism towards like focusing too much on the gold medal and like only thinking about the ranking and all that, the medal count. But now I think after public criticism towards those types of attitude towards watching Olympics, now it became more mitigated, and people I think tend to care less about the medal count. But because of that, I think people have less interest in the Olympics now.
I see. Yeah. Okay. So if you're not caring about the Olympics and how we place or how many golds and medals Korea gets, is it more about just celebrating Korean athletes no matter what, and just like rooting for them? And
that's what we're trying to do.
I see.
But like naturally Korean people
that sounds so non-Korean to me. It's like Korea's the most competitive, results-oriented culture.
Yeah.
So okay, I see. It's just hard, right? With not a huge population to begin with. And like we've talked about before, like, sports is not integrated. Not every kid is playing it. And so, I suspect there's a ton of great athletes in Korea, but they never really ever focused on it, got a chance to show. Because it's really all or nothing here, right? It's like you start that athlete track at a very young age. And that's all you do. You just train, you skip class just to train.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very difficult life. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
If you're interested, keep following along with the Korean news. And we'll try to make this a regular thing to help our non-Korean listeners stay informed on the latest trending news, headlines, and articles in Korea. So,
all right.
Let's get Korean American podcast trending. So bad. Okay.
No, that's good.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Kudong's mealtime.
Yeah. So during the press conference, she was depicting all these Hybe corporate people as like 개저씨들.
We have to bleep that.
개저씨 is just a derogatory term for 아저씨s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
개저씨.
Okay, 개저씨.
But she also did say like 새끼. We'll have to bleep all this out, like 새끼.
Yeah.
and all
Okay.
that.
Okay.